It was quite interesting as well to notice yesterday that the DCMS Sports Committee, the select committee, was all white. And I just feel that when you're dealing with a situation like this, where it's so sensitive and you really need somebody on that committee that can perhaps understand where Azeem is coming from and what it feels like to be racially abused, I felt like that was a massive own goal when you looked at that. To have as brilliantly as they did, and as much as they feel that they might have asked the right questions, sometimes in these situations, you can't ask the right questions because you don't have a known experience of something like this. I mean, it'd be a little bit like me going to a committee where I feel like I've been discriminated against because I'm a female and there's been sexist language used against me, and the committee that's here in my case is all men. I'd probably sit there and think, well, how can you understand how I'm feeling, because you've never been discriminated for your gender. So in this situation, I do wish that there was more diversity on that panel as well, because isn't that what we're talking about in general? Just allowing society in general to be reflected at a top tier level.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. It should have been. But I always look at situations there, and it goes on in dressing rooms, and there's bigger figures in dressing rooms at times who try and control it. I'm surprised that other players didn't stand up and say something. I mean, say, come on, leave it out, or because I've been in dressing rooms there, and if anybody was out of order to someone, look, there's all banter flying around. We expect that. That's what happens in sports and team games, if you like. But when it gets over the edge, when it goes over the line, we would stand up and say something. One of the boys say, "What are you talking about? You can't say that." And I'm surprised that didn't happen in the dressing room. Whether the guys who he said in the back of the paper are very powerful in the dressing room, or it's just the norm for people. Now, that's never happened to me in dressing rooms I've been in. So it's quite disturbing to hear what he went through, especially, like, you know, he's a young boy dying, and he's had a terrible time, hasn't he? When you look back at his career, and he's a cricketer, all he wanted to do is play cricket. That's what he said, and I just couldn't in the end. So it's a really disturbing piece there. I just heard 6 minutes of him coming across, and hopefully, you know, I know he's the one who's come out and said all this, but it will help a lot of people going forward, because no one wants to see what's happened. Obviously, Yorkshire is, what do we say about that? They knew what was going on. He went and see them on quite a few occasions, and nothing was done, which is really disturbing as well when I hear that, because straight away there's got to be an inquiry. What's going on in the dressing room? Because we don't know, or do they know? And they just let it, you know, sweep it under the carpet sort of thing. Don't worry about it. So I think hopefully going forward that this is a brave thing that he's done, and it will help a lot of people in the Asian community to start playing cricket again, because the numbers there are unbelievable. I mean, you go to India, and we all know it's a massive sport in Indian cricket, Pakistan, wherever it is. But it's unbelievable that there's only that amount of people involved in cricket at the higher level, which you just find quite... Because most of them guys love cricket and want to play cricket. It's like me wanting to play football as a young kid. It was all football related, but I'm sure young Asians want to play cricket, but the numbers there don't make sense, and that's probably a lot to do with it. What he's gone through, Azeem.
You're right. It's like we said, the numbers earlier on of a third of cricketers,
unbelievable,
at a young age, recreational players are Asian. And at the moment, it's only about 5% of county cricketers that are Asian. So you're right, there is a drop-off somewhere, and that drop-off needs to be pinpointed and understood. And if the problem is racism, it needs to be dealt with immediately and better. You know, Azeem Rafiq deserved his day in court, but he also deserved so much better treatment when he was there, and when he decided to speak up about the claims that he's making now and the treatment that he had. He deserved better.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods, Monday to Wednesday morning 6 till 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.